Hey everyone, Brian Von VA here, and before we begin, I just wanted to say this video is sponsored by Dames of Asstoria. With that said and out of the way, people of r/MrRipper, who is the NPC who went down in history in your group? Part 1. I'll start with the story of Malrog The Carnivores. My character, Avelio, as well as the other party members, were hired by some desperate individuals who wanted their children back from an evil troll queen who would eat another child every hour 1 million gold was not within her possession. We eventually got to the troll prince's room. Avelio single-handedly killed the royal, then he looked to one of the guards. He approached slowly to the troll guard before punching him in the face. The poor guy stumbled backwards as I hit him for a nat 20, dealing what I later found out was more than half his health in one punch. Avelio sneered and went for intimidation. So, do you value your pathetic life? With me as your leader, I promise you incredible power beyond what is feasible. And all I ask is your allegiance, he said, and I rolled a 15, and he beat me with a 16. The DM ruled I successfully intimidated him, but not enough to join.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't leave the Queen, or she'd kill me,
he replied in a deep British accent.
Then die a proud, brave man, rather than a coward,
he answered with a persuasion check. Nat 20. The troll guard pondered Avelio's words before taking his hand and standing up. After the troll said he'd join Avelio, he asked,
So what's your name?
Now our DM was pretty good at improv, so he quickly came up with the name Malrog.
Malrog, huh? Malrog.
Avelio said the name a few more times.
Yes, Malrog sounds like a name that would instill absolute fear in those who heard it.
So after having Malrog kill his comrade and take his life back from the oppressive tyrant, we managed to persuade a bear tamer to join our ranks as well. That was when the session ended. I asked our DM if I could come up with a character sheet for Malrog since our next session would be the last for the campaign, and he agreed. So I made Malrog the Troll, who was a perfect half and half multi-class of paladin and fighter. Now, here's the thing. He allowed me to just use the troll monster stats and give him the abilities required, but all he had for equipment was the armor of the queen and a longsword. No matter, because I came to a realization that session as to why you don't give monsters player classes. After Avelio did a quarter of her health with one flurry of blows, it was Malrog's turn. He spoke a few words about how he was going to take his goddamn life back if it was the last thing he would do. And that, he branded a new name for himself, Malrog The Carnivores. Like that, I had Malrog use 4 attacks at once. His normal attack, 2 extra attacks, and an action surge, all of which I had him use his multi-attack, which was about 3d6 plus 12 damage per multi-attack. Not to mention, he used a divine smite for the first attack. By the end of the turn, and after rolling 14d6 plus 48 damage plus 3d8 damage using a second level divine smite, he did more than the boss's full health thanks to 2 nat 20s. Wow. She was almost essentially eaten alive, and he triumphed over tyranny and managed to take his own life back into his hands. Malrog, from that day forward, went down in infamy in our group. I've talked about this before, but Avelio is now the villain to my upcoming campaign, with Malrog as his right-hand man. Now, let's hear those stories. Magic, majesty, war, revolutions, and monster girls. Have you ever wanted to play D&D, but with a bit more focus on your own customizable monster girl? Presenting Dames of Asstoria, a high fantasy tabletop RPG that throws you into a world rich with mystical adventures in a PG-13 setting, allowing you to create a monster girl known as a demi-fauna of your very own. Dames of Asstoria allows you to mix and match your own demi-fauna with a variety of different body parts, as well as a bucket load of traits per part. This unique race system gives you access to powerful feats, along with a multi-class system called disciplines that are based exclusively on the skills they advance. This grants you unique abilities and perks all by mixing and matching what your points go into. With an ever-expanding and in-depth lore, Dames of Asstoria asks you just one question. Do you have what it takes to overcome impossible odds and be knighted as a dame? You can find out more info about Dames of Asstoria on their website shop.projectdeadtree.com. The game is available for physical and digital purchase August 2022. All the love to Dead Tree Studios for sponsoring the channel and for giving players another unique RPG to play and to tell many stories about. Now, back to the video. My party had ended up sharing ownership of a tavern, and their staff was truly a cast of characters. There was a racist chef. Wow, that doesn't sound like Seinfeld. That made the world's finest potatoes and a literal ghost bartender. The two standouts, however, were Snarf and Zugzug. Snarf was a little goblin that lived in squalor, but was obsessed with keeping things as clean as possible. He would dart about the tavern cleaning up after patrons and would return triumphantly to us and say in a voice that was half Stitch, half Gollum, "Snarf!" Yes, he only said the word Snarf, and the DM loves doing voices. So do I. Snarf ended up living in a wooden crate under the steps to the tavern, and he found that box to be pretty sweet digs. Then there was Zugzug. He was, I think, an orc, and Zugzug was not the brightest, much like Snarf. Zugzug was hired as a bit of a muscle and to fetch things for us, the latter being because of his literal lightning speed. For reasons that were never explained, Zugzug moved seemingly at the speed of light. To test it out, we asked him to steal a sign from our competitor's tavern down the street. In the blink of an eye, he was standing there with the sign in hand saying, "Zugzug fast." I like these characters. Gandor. Gandor was a super OP, portal-making, alcoholic, generally stupid, zombie-owning old wizard that was involved in the behind-the-scenes and odds and ends of our party's adventures. Some of his most memorable antics include the DM putting on the most obnoxious voice he can muster up, having him a legion of seemingly endless zombies, all named Tony, that take care of his shop for him, and having a deal with a party member that in payment for a certain magic item, he'd be personally delivered a barrel of ale once a month. Grinkle the Sorcerer. Grinkle was a gnome sorcerer who would randomly appear, be a huge dick to a random party member, announce that he is in fact Grinkle the Sorcerer, and that he will be back. We made a joke that he was an interdimensional being sent by the creator god to fuck with us. I love Grinkle already. My NPC is a kobold artificer, hi guys, I learned how to pronounce it finally, named Hullgin. Hullgin was only supposed to be an NPC to guide them through my tutorial level. The players during this session were forced to retrieve a symbol of truth from a gang of hobgoblins, and at the end they fought a hobgoblin warlord. Hullgin tried to reason with the warlord, even though the party killed all his troops. Instead of trading, the warlord killed Hullgin and cut off his head brutally in front of my players. This pissed them off, because Hullgin was a comedic NPC they enjoyed to follow, and it took a single session to kill him off. My NPC was a goblin who we held prisoner. I was a very new player and I kept calling him a dwarf, so I ended up naming him Not-Dwarf. It was a stupid name until my DM called him Not-Dwarf. I was so utterly shocked that he took my name and called him by it also, and then I killed him. Splinter the Rat. My party was going through a mansion that had a necromancer kill and raise all the inhabitants. In the mansion while exploring, the party warlock, who as a fluff piece of his character smoked cigarettes made of seaweed, made a stupid high investigation roll. I gave them the details on the storeroom they found, 100-year-old wines, grain that was now dust, etc. And for the high roll, heck, there is a drain in the center of the room because, why not? He flicked his lit cigarette down the drain to get light down there. It didn't give light, so make a perception roll to see down there. Stupid high roll again. Because of his high roll, I thought, what can be down there that they will not be able to get to? I got it. it.
A large, furry, rat-like creature comes out of the pipe, picks up your still-burning cigarette, and you see the end glow. The rat appears to be smoking your cigarette.
The party then spent the next hour trying to get down the drain or find where that pipe went. Now, whenever someone rolls a stupid high perception, if there's nothing else around, Splinter comes out of the nearest pipe, takes a drag on the seaweed cigarette, and then vanishes before they can run him down. The warlock is bound and determined to catch him and make him his familiar. Elene Magifist, a sorcerer/enchantress for multiple parties and multiple games. A charismatic party lady who often trolls the party and often goofs with them, only to make up for it by selling them killer magic items and helping them in battle. She also picks favorites and messes with them less, and the rest of the party more. She has been the go-to girl for the party when they need something, anything to give them the edge on any sort of adventure. When I have similar other NPCs that could also help, she's just been the favorite. During the literal first session of the game I played in, I was controlling a Kobalty NPC. I don't know if they meant kobold, because my character was the unconscious at the time, and as a joke I called him Kobalty, which ended up becoming his actual name for the entirety of the game. Mr.Railroad! Mr.Railroad is the name of the DM insert NPC in every campaign. He always forces the party to do what the DM wants them to do, and often argues with the players if the DM wants to cause pandemonium. He's a bit of a running joke, but he always gives the party plot relevant tasks and bribes them when he's not in the party. Everyone loves him and hates him. The bar wench named Tabetha the party hired for their tap house. She stole money from the till, and now the party has a 500 gold bounty on her head for the maybe 15/12 gold she stole. It became so serious that I made her into the big bad evil guy for some reason. Flanve The Quicksword, a swordmaster goblin girl the party found while lost in a temple. Flanve had so much luck she avoided almost every attack and even convinced the party to let her go after almost killing one of us. Part of the iconicness, it's because the DM, me, can't make voices, so ended up making a voice so changing from high to low in the same word. A kobold named Mipo is in our group. Oh, that's cute. He has died many times, but we have brought him back every time. He mostly just sulks over his dead pet dragon, but I make him feel better when I let him have my familiar a bit. Aw, what a sweet little story. Brian Von VA here, wishing you all well and hoping you liked the vid. And if you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified anytime we post or go live. Remember to follow MrRipper on his Twitter and join the subreddit r/MrRipper if you'd like to submit any stories of your own for us to read out loud. And be sure to check today's sponsor as well, Dames of Asstoria. Believe me, it looks cute and badass at the same time, and it's sure to be fun for a variety of players, so give them a look-see. Using a help action, you can click my big blue mug and come sub to my channel, Brian Von VA, to hear all sorts of voice acting videos and see a ton of gaming streams. With business talk out of the way, I wanted to leave the lot of you with a positive message as always. When the going gets tough, it's okay to crack and feel down. Guys and gals alike, we have emotions. No one can say otherwise, and it ain't a weakness to cry. To those of you out there who are struggling and need to reach out, please do so when you feel down in the dumps. There are loved ones in your life that are wanting you to talk to them, so vent to them, talk to us here, talk to your friends and family, let it all out, because believe me, you're going to feel better for it. So with that said, all the love, be safe, and we will see you next time.